All right, so this is Rogelio, Vida Properties eXp Realty, and I've done these streams before, and I had this idea of I'm going through these trainings within eXp with relocation, and I really think people are interested in knowing what it's like living in other areas of the country and sometimes outside of the country as well. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. So happy pre-4th of July weekend. Hopefully everybody's getting ready for having a great holiday, and it's been it's time to have some fun, enjoy wherever you're at, what you're doing. I'm here in Denver. This is where I live, and we're gonna have a conversation about this. What's it like exploring other locations? So this is a series. It's called Living in Fill in the Blank. So today we have a special guest from Rhode Island, Jonathon Bolano. We're going to bring him on to have a conversation. Anybody know anyone that lives out there in Rhode Island? How about just the Northeast, New England? I visited. I can't say what it's like to live there. I've never been. As far as living, just like most of us, probably just for a quick holiday, business conference, something like that. But let's do that. Let's go ahead and bring on Jonathon.
Good. How we doing?
There he is. How's it going, Jonathon? Hey. All right, man. Well, fellow eXp agent, awesome to have you. Pre-4th of July. Happy Independence Day. It's here on the corner. Get the fireworks. Interesting to see what interesting the celebrations out there. I know every time there's less and less. There's only specified areas where you can go out and watch the fireworks, and we have the MLS, the Colorado Rapids. They put on a great display every year. So anyways, we're looking forward to having that. So, hey man, so tell me about you, man. You're out in Rhode Island. You're with eXp. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Jonathon Bolano. I run the Bolano team since my second year in real estate. I started a team quite early. We cover Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and due to eXp, we have extensions in our fingers in other parts of the country and the world. We have an agent that's part of the team, part of it in Georgia. But again, because of those extensions, we're out in New Hampshire, we're out in New York. We have people in Colombia, Portugal, etc. Because eXp, if you're not part of eXp, we are international. So we have the ability to support people through the purchase and sale of all types of real estate worldwide. Been doing this for just under a decade. I've been to about 5 different brokerages, and eXp has been by far one of my best experiences. It's a virtual brokerage, but connected in all different types of ways. But I'm born and raised Rhode Island, born, raised, stayed, never left. So I love it here. I think that there's a ton to do amidst how some people look at it. But I think it's one of the best states out there.
Okay, we're going to hear a little bit more about why. So let's first of all, what's the best way to reach you? And I do have a phone number here. We'll display it.
The best way to reach me. So if you have my name in front of you, my business card is my first name, last name.com. So jonathonbolano.com. You can get all my contact info. If that's a little more technical for you, then you can just go 401-612-3755, which is right there on that side, I believe. And then also my first name, last name at bolanoteam.com. It's my email address. Everything for me is at Bolano Team. So if you have my last name, you just add the word team to it. You can find me on all different types of social media very quickly.
If I were to do a search for Jonathon Bolano, Google, would I type in Jonathon Bolano, Rhode Island agent, eXp agent? What would be the other word that would?
You just type my name and a ton of stuff would pop up.
There you go. All right, man. So
yeah,
let's talk about what life is like in Rhode Island. How did you end up in Rhode Island? Do you still live there? I know over there, I'm in Denver, and it's a larger state. It's not California, it's not Texas, but it's still geographically speaking very, very spacious. So tell me about that.
Mm-hmm. So Rhode Island, I was born and raised here. I never left. I have 3 boys now, so that kind of keeps me locked in here. I'll be here for at least another 10 years before I can venture off into the world like that. Rhode Island is a state where you can experience all the weather, like all the different types of weather that's out there. You can experience every single season. We get the changing of leaves, but we also get your winter snow. So we get blizzards. We don't get tornadoes really. Like every so often you might get like a little spotty one, but we have too many hills out here. And we don't really get that many earthquakes either. So it's not like we get the devastating things. We get kind of like the middle ground kind of like storms over here.
Lately,
Rhode Island is one.
No, I was going to say that here in the last few years, we've heard more of hurricanes moving up further and further north. Have you seen that?
Yeah, we've gotten really close calls for a number of years now, but they haven't hit us like that just yet. I mean, we get them like kind of like on the coast, but where we are more inland, when you get past that 20-minute mark, you kind of free and clear of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so that's similar here. One of the things we do, we get to have the 4 seasons. So you get to not get, I don't know the word is bored or generally, but you get to witness the stages, the changing of the leaves, the first snow, the drip off, the runoff from the mountains, things like that. So there's definitely some like defined changes, throughout the year, right. Climate wise. So you're born and raised, or native, so you would know all the cool places.
Yeah, I make it a point to go visit. So as a real estate agent, if you're a real estate agent, one of the things that I make it a point to do is to attend, visit every single restaurant I can. I focus on mom and pop shops because Rhode Island is really, really infamous for being still very mom and pop based. We do have a lot of like the corporate chains, but I tend to veer away from that. Besides, between you and me, I'm not a fan of their food. I think it's kind of overpriced and tastes like toilet water. I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. So I'm focused on the mom and pop shops. We have everything from like your regular mom and pop to like really high end luxuries type of food. I was just at Fleming's last night, which is in Providence. Amazing place if you can look it up. They have amazing food. The wait staff was superb. I mean, I went way above and beyond on the guy's tip because he just did so damn well. Great personality, really attentive. But that's what you're looking at with Rhode Island. You have everything from properties that start at maybe $70,000, and you can get all the way up into the multi-millions in such a small space. Because like I was about to say earlier, it takes an hour to drive across Rhode Island, and that's the entire state. And we even have a city that's so small here that it's 1 mile wide in all directions, which is called Central Falls. We have just about every single nationality, culture, demographic that you could think of. They're all like in relation to some of these other states, these larger states, everything is abutting each other in little compartmentalized like ways. But I think it's what makes Rhode Island so special because we have so much to offer, and it's so easy to just navigate around wherever you want to go, whatever you're in the mood for. You want to go Latin dancing? We have multiple spots there. If not, you can go up to Boston, which is only like 45 minutes away. You want Asian food, you want Spanish food, you want Italian, Cape Verdean, American. I mean, the list kind of just keeps continuing, but we have it all, which is that's Rhode Island.
Wait. So 45 minutes from Boston? That's it?
Yeah.
45 minutes sometimes on a busy afternoon. It'll take 45 minutes to get from one side of town to the other side. Here.
Yeah, no. It'll take you about 45 minutes to get through Boston because if you have to go from Dorchester up towards like northern Boston, yeah, it could take you about 45 minutes. But if you're going highway only, it's roughly about 45 minutes to an hour and a change, unless there's like traffic hour or there's a lot of construction, which they usually have around 11 p.m., 10 p.m. at night. Not saying I'm up at that time. I'm just saying that if somebody's up at that time going up in that direction, they usually do all the construction then, so the traffic can be a little bit less impressive.
Okay. If you were to say, where do people come from that, to come live in Rhode Island, where do they come from?
I mean, they come from all over the world. Like I was saying a little bit ago with our food. I mean, we have a lot of Cape Verdeans. If you don't know what Cape Verdean is, it's there's an island off the west coast of Africa. It's a multitude of islands. There's Prague. There's I can't remember all the names now because I'm on the thing right here. I'm getting nervous. There's Praia and a couple of others, but there's all these islands, which is where like a lot of slave trade happened from. So the Africans would get sold from Africa, come over there, and then there would be the Portuguese, and they all meshed in together, and that ended up creating the Cape Verdean culture, where they would then take everybody over by boat over to like Haiti and things of that nature. So that's Cape Verde, and we have a lot of Cape Verdeans over here. Then we have a lot of Portuguese, a ton of Portuguese. We have cities that are just like Portuguese folks. We have a lot of Italians, Latins, I mean, Guatemalan, Honduran, Colombian, Puerto Rican, Dominican, you name it, we have it. Mexicans. We have in Boston more so. We have a lot of like Ukrainians and people from like Russia, like that area of the world. We have a lot of Asian from all different parts of Asia. So I mean, like we really touch every single part of the world in this little space. So that it's very interesting. Melting pot.
So for example, in New York, it gets too expensive, so people move to New Jersey, and it's typical for people to have that commute to work, live in New Jersey, work in New York. Do you have anything like that going on with Rhode Island and Boston or another area that
we call Rhode Island the little sister or the little brother of Boston. A lot of folks can't afford or don't want to afford the 900 million plus condos, the $5,000 a month rentals for like 700 square feet of space. So a lot of folks will come to Rhode Island where you can get your average price house between 450 and 550,000, where you're going to get something that's renovated in a quiet neighborhood, something that a lot of folks like really want to be in, and they can escape an extra $400,000 just by adding another 30 minutes to their commute. So Rhode Island, like I said, like depending on which area you're in, you're anywhere between 70,000 and multi-million-dollar properties, and sometimes abutting each other. You could be in one place 2 minutes away from another and go millions of dollars of change in price point.
Okay, let me do this. I'm gonna bring up the market update. The stats for here in the Denver area just came out. Just for point of reference, and then maybe you can share a little bit more insight further into that. So here's the stats. This is a typical. I think last week when I had a conversation with you, it was 600,000 was the median close price. So this is month over month. It went up a little bit. We had seen a dip, so it went back up. Here in June, what I expected, days on market went up. It was at 13 days in May. The months of inventory up as well. Active listings up. So even though there was more of a leaning on it, because we have this balance of buyer's market versus seller's market, it's been seller's market like forever, and it still is if you look at the big picture. But people have been so used to having a seller's market that when it looks a little bit more balanced, they think and freak out that it's a buyer's market, which is still not really. But we've definitely tended in that direction. So just using some of this information, how's it on your end?
Yeah, no, if you want to leave that up, I'll actually speak to it from this standpoint here. And I have my numbers right here in front of me. But this might make your head pop with the numbers that we have here. It's completely like an eighth, if not like a 12th of what you guys have going on. So the number of properties we have on the market today between single family, multifamily, and condo, you're looking at about 1,600, maybe 1,500 properties. So what we're looking at in Rhode Island is roughly about 1,400 properties, 1,500 on the market at any given moment at this time. In places like Massachusetts, we have 6,500 just single families. And if you add in everything else, you're looking at almost about 10,000 properties, which is quite different than what you guys are experiencing out there with Rogelio. Our average sales point for Rhode Island is for a single family is about 650. Your multifamilies, you're looking closer to like 675, maybe almost 700, and then your condos are on the lower side of roughly like 500,000, give or take. Because I know I said that the average price point over here is roughly 550,000, so it's like that's a fluctuating number week over week. And our days on the market are actually like right around that 30-day point. Which means that like a lot of properties are going on the market and coming off almost immediately. Now, amidst all that, though, we are in a buyer's market. It is not a seller's market over here. One of the things that kind of stands against that is that when properties go into contract, they don't always make it to the closing table. So we get a lot of properties back into the market that way. And the reason why that is because of lenders, bad appraisals, or appraisals that just don't work and you can't negotiate that out. Not able to negotiate on inspections, or maybe the inspections kind of freak somebody out, etc. If you're in real estate, you already know that there's like 4 ways to terminate a contract, at least in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut is this way. I'm assuming it's like this across the country, but you have things like inspection, appraisal, mortgage, if the mortgage can't go.
Yeah, so we're transmitting here back online. What happens when your computer crashes? And I got too many resources going. But Jonathan, so appreciate that you were talking about just quick summary, if you can, with points about living in Rhode Island.
Yeah, of course. So the things that I was sharing a few moments ago was that living in Rhode Island, I mean, you're in a state that's 1 hour wide from the furthest points away from one another. We border both Massachusetts and Connecticut. With a little brother to Massachusetts to Boston. So a lot of our folks are traveling to Boston, or they're working in the healthcare field here in Rhode Island, or they're going and working in Hartford. So I mean, Connecticut. We have a lot of ocean front, even though we have the least amount of it out of the entire out of the states that have ocean front, like beaches and such, because we are the smallest state. But I mean, Rhode Island's a cool place because you can touch just about everything in 30 seconds. One of the things that I was sharing earlier that is in relation to, I think you had 16,000 properties on the market. We have 1,500 across the entire state, and that's across single family, multifamily, and condo. I don't know if the stats that you showed were just single family only, but that's that. In Massachusetts, we have about 10,000 on the market at any given point. So I mean, there's that. I had jumped into how a lot of the properties that go into contract here in Rhode Island don't make it to the closing table. Same thing in Massachusetts. We get a lot of properties that come back in. And I went through some of the reasons as to why that happens, such as like a bad inspection, appraisal, commitment, or title issues. So I really touched on a lot of.
What is the days on market that's typical, or I don't know, there's, I guess, an average or a median?
30.
30 days?
Yeah, 30 days flat for the ones that do make it to the closing table.
Well, that's not, I mean, that's, we were showing there that had gone up to 18 days. So we're creeping up. It was, but I think, again, people have been used to seeing the lower end for years now, that I think we're going back to a more realistic and, I don't know the word is standard, but just what's seen in other places. Now, there's some places that are like way over 30 days. So I don't know, in the New England area in general, are there some areas that are you seeing that are trending where they're taking longer than Rhode Island?
Yeah, so more of the suburban areas are taking a little bit longer. Properties that are over 600,000, 700,000, about 600 to 700,000 are sitting a little bit longer. A lot of those folks, when you get into that price range in these areas, I don't know what it's like across the country, but in these areas, they tend to list their properties about $20,000, $30,000 above what the actual sales price is, with the anticipation that someone's going to lowball them. I'm not a fan of that tactic. I think it's kind of like a yard sale mindset. And if you have that mindset, I feel like the first thing that people are going to do is I'm going to start negotiating really, really low in relation to where you are to find out where that ZOPA is, or zone of opportunity. I'm a big believer in trying to understand what somebody's situation is, and we list it accordingly. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
We have a lot of folks that are mostly in the 500,000 range and below. That's the majority of our market here. Yeah.
To I guess reiterate, if entry level housing for single family versus condos or townhomes, what would you say, or those numbers would be like?
Entry level for a single family, you're looking at about 400,000. For a condo, you could get into a decent one at around 100 to 150,000. And for multifamilies, 550-ish. Because some of our newer construction, two families are going for like 700,000-800,000.
Yeah. So is there much of new construction going on?
No, we don't really get a lot of new construction in Rhode Island. I mean, there's a fair amount, but it's not a lot by any means. I mean, a lot of our land is mostly already built on. Let's just say that, or it's owned by people that are not trying to let it go. Some of the cities have still zoning restrictions, such as like you have to have at least 2 acres of land in order to build on it. Some of the cities are starting to change their zoning laws, so that way, even if you have like 3,500 square feet, you can still build like a single family or a 2-family on it. Not literally, I'm kind of just spitballing right now, but they're.
I imagine out there, New England homes are like way older, like in Providence. Like I don't know. I'm just comparing, let's say, like Boston, that's like historic.
Yeah.
Are there like way old 18th century homes?
Yep. Yeah, we have properties that are like 1870, 1875, 1880s. We have a fair amount of those. A lot of those are kind of going through like a tear down, or sometimes the Historic Society tries to like save them. But we mostly have properties now that are built after 1950. So we still have to deal with a lot of the lead laws from pre-1975. But a lot of our properties have like cement foundations, or concrete foundations, I should say. So we don't deal a lot with that old style anymore. Like it's still there. It's very prominent. But a lot of the problems that were there have been fixed.
Nice. What would you recommend if somebody's interested in just scoping out the area? When people move, I imagine they're already familiar with Rhode Island. They already visit. I don't know if you get any people out, like further out the state and outside of the New England area, or is it mostly people that are already in the local region?
We get a really nice mixture of everything. I've worked with a lot of veterans that are relocating to this area. I've worked with a lot of folks in Boston, Massachusetts that are looking to avoid Massachusetts multifamily prices of $800,000-900,000 and get into that $600,000 range with the multifamilies here. Avoid the $800,000 single families up there and come down to something that's more like $500,000. So I mean, that's a lot of our clientele right now. A lot of the folks that are already Rhode Island based are either moving further south into Rhode Island, closer to Connecticut, or they're just leaving the state altogether. But if somebody's planning on moving here from out of state, the first thing that I would say is to sit with somebody like myself that can point you in the right direction. You go and share, like, what are your interests? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do? What do you not like to do? What kind of scene do you want to be in? And then what we can do, or what I can do, is like point them in the right direction. Where's their new job going to be located? How far is it? How long is it going to actually take to drive to that particular location? I drive 33,000 miles a year, which is significantly more than what the average person here in the Rhode Island area is, that does maybe like 9,000. So I understand how long it actually takes to drive from one place to the next. And I can usually hit it almost down to the exact minute, amidst like some crazy God-driven traffic moment.
Yeah. Is it recommended, or is it like a good idea for people to, like, if they're looking to relocate, to rent first before buying, or is it where they can pretty much get a good feel from visiting first to select? Because I know in some places it's very different from one side of town or one area than another, and sometimes it's just too much to like go for it right away and go into buying, but it might be different in other areas. So I don't know what your take is on that.
For the cities that you're referring to, it's quite obvious when you've crossed the train tracks. So it's people figure it out quite quickly. One weekend here kind of like solidifies what people's thoughts are in specific areas. Rhode Island isn't a really dangerous state, though. I mean, we have a couple like little havens where it can be a little bit dangerous, but overall, Rhode Island's a beautiful. As long as you're not busting anyone's chops about anything, you're really in a safe place here. School systems are a little bit different, but we have people go to like greaterschools.org or go to the Rhode Island Department of Education website and try to look at like what their stats are, or have them go to the city the city police department websites to find out what the crime rates look like in specific areas. But I think like one weekend here, you can touch most of Rhode Island and figure out like where do you want to be. And I can usually point people in the right direction, like go attend this open house, check it out, see what it's like, and see how you feel about it.
One other thing, as far as, because some of these are just triggering other conversations I've had with other agents. You say, the demographic is all over the place. Also is I guess, as far as age, generational, is it also a mix with that, or do you tend to see a particular range of more people interested in that already live or that moving to Rhode Island?
A lot of folks that live in Rhode Island stay in Rhode Island. Very few people leave, and the ones that do leave tend to come back, and the ones that don't leave, they tend to stay in like Florida. That's where a lot of our folks leave to.
Okay.
Rhode Island's a place where you have generations and generations of families here. They very seldomly walk away.
So usually that means that people like living there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. It's not the perfect place by any means. However, it's home. It's convenient. You can I think Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm going to probably get punched in the face for this, but I think Dunkin' Donuts has like roasted onion for coffee, but you can't throw a rock far enough to miss a Dunkin' Donuts. There are jokes that go around, memes, where there was a Dunkin' Donuts like on one corner, and then there was a Dunkin' Donuts on the next corner, like on the very following corner. So it's like right across the street from each other. And so like we have Dunkin' Donuts everywhere. We're getting to a point where like you go Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts. And then we have a lot of mom and pop little cafes that are popping up all over the place, which have been my go-to. They've been phenomenal.
So it's interesting for everybody that gets to see this video is like, do you have things like that happening in your own town? Some specific type things with chains versus the local businesses. Maybe there's some businesses that have grown and become franchises from wherever you're at. But I can definitely see that. That was a conversation a good decade ago with the whole thing with marijuana, because Colorado and Oregon were first states to legalize that, and so they were springing up all over the place. And so that same conversation just replaced Dunkin' Donuts with those providers. But I imagine other places have issues like that happen all the time. They each have their particular I don't know, call them challenges, but just they're interesting for locals that they see it, that maybe somebody looking from outside doesn't realize what's happening. I don't want to take up much more time. Is there anything else that you want to share that just be interesting tidbit or about just if you're thinking of, and I know you serve other areas outside as well, that you kind of see some contrast for sure that, oh man, I don't think Rhode Island's going to be for you, or definitely I think that's what you're looking for.
No, I think that pretty much hits almost everything in a nutshell. If you're really looking for a city life, you want to go to Massachusetts, to the Boston, Worcester area. If you're looking for great opportunities, I know we're talking about Rhode Island right now, but there's Springfield, Massachusetts. You can get some single families and some multifamilies for like $100,000 or $200,000. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunity out there. In Connecticut, along the eastern border of it with Rhode Island, you have a lot of houses that are still $300,000, 4 beds, 2 baths, 1,500 square feet, 2-car garage, and a 1/4 acre of land. So in Rhode Island, that's about 500,000 or 550, 600. And in Massachusetts, you're looking at easily like 900 to $1 million. So depending on where you want to be, and the cool thing about these areas is that we have a lot of highways and routes that are interconnecting with one another. So if you want to be in that Connecticut area, I-395 comes down that entire that entire border with Rhode Island in Connecticut. And in some instances, it's quite easy to get to. So if you want to live in Connecticut and work out of Worcester, you can do it. If you want to live in Connecticut and work out of Rhode Island, you can do that. If you want to live in Connecticut and troop all the way up to Boston, I've had people do it where they work like 2 or 3 times a week in the office, and they're like, for 3 times a week, I'll drive 2 hours, and they'll jump on, they'll go 395 to I-90, 90 all the way into Boston, and then make the commute back. I have a guy that bought a condo here in Rhode Island, in Pawtucket, and he just jumps on the train and goes up to Boston 2-3 times a week, lives out in Maryland, but will come up and stay here and just use that train because it's a lot cheaper than buying out in Boston to just live there for 2-3 days a week.
Yeah.
So it's
well, those are some of the benefits with areas that you have.
It's really easy to get around
closer.
Over here.
And I think here, like, it's pretty much like, I don't know, say that if you're stuck, but you make a decision, and it's kind of like, well, that's what you're gonna have to deal with day in, day out. There's not too many alternatives, and there's been a huge growth here over the last 15 years. I think we have now net migration out of the state here recently, but for the last 15 years or so, it was a net migration top. Now you see where people are moving to. You can look at those stats. But man, that's
Florida and Texas. That's where most people are going into.
Yeah, and it's huge. So you have all sorts of, and I can tell you, I'm originally from Texas. So it's very different. South, north, central, east, and west, all over. I'll put up your info once again, just to say, people are interested in talking to Jonathon on Rhode Island and get to know that part of the world, part of the U.S. Anybody has ideas on, hey man, I'm curious about this location, make sure to comment, to like, to share, and be interesting. What other agents should we bring along and in other parts to have this kind of conversation? But I think it's nice to kind of step outside and see what's out there. Thanks again, Jonathon. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Everybody out there, same thing. And let's do it another time, and hopefully we have less technical issues that come up. This is my first one, so bound to happen. But now I'm ready for it for next time.
It's all right. We make it work. I appreciate you, and thank you for having me on. I hope everybody found this interesting, and maybe I sparked some interest in the Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut areas. Feel free to just message me or call me on the number below. Phone calls are usually better. If I don't know who you are, and if I don't pick up, just text me. I have a belief that I should call you back within 3 hours. Otherwise, I better be in the hospital or something. So communication is really, really important.
All right. That's
all right, guys.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Mm-hmm.